In 1998, Z2 would release a new puzzle game onto the Nintendo 64 under Ocean of America's publication. Over the following years, it would be released on the Game Boy, in Japan at least, and Windows in 1999, and finally the Sega Dreamcast in 2000. The Dreamcast port of the game would be published by Zycat Interactive. Hey guys, today we're going to be talking about Wetrix, an obscure puzzle game to say the least, and one I'm not hugely familiar with. While Wetrix has been on my radar for quite a while now, it's a game I have very brief experience with, having only played it a few times in the past. However, the concept that the game offers has always intrigued me, and it's made me want to give it a fair chance to see if it can compare to the other popular puzzle games and maybe become a new favorite. Because it's the version I have access to, we're going to be taking a look at the Nintendo 64 version today. When you boot up the game, you'll find 6 options waiting for you on the title screen. These include Classic Mode, Practice Mode, Pro Mode, Handicap Mode, Challenge Mode, and Multiplayer Mode. Classic Mode has you playing the standard Wetrix experience. The goal of the game is to create land masses to prevent water from draining off the playfield. Similar to games such as Tetris, on the bottom right-hand side of the screen you'll be shown a multitude of pieces that will be sent out onto the playfield. These include raise and lower land tiles, water, meteors, and missiles. The raise and lower land tiles are fairly self-explanatory. They have different shape variations such as full squares, L's, and lines. These pieces are used to sculpt enclosures on the playfield. Water tiles come in small and large variants. If water is placed outside of an enclosed space, it'll begin dripping off the edge of the playfield. This will be tracked by the drain meter on the right-hand side of the screen. The more water that falls off the stage, the more the meter fills. Once it reaches the top, it's game over. Meteors can be used to clear pools of water. These can either be used to clear water draining off the edge of the stage, or used to clear concealed pools. The more water in the pool, the more points you will accumulate from clearing it. Missiles destroy a small portion of the stage that they touch. You can repair these damaged sections by laying a raised land piece over a hole on the stage. Alternatively, using a lower land piece will cause the hole to grow larger. Similarly to clearing water, the larger the hole is before repairing, the more points you'll gain for fixing it. You do need to be cautious of where you place missiles though. Placing a missile inside of an already cleared area of the stage will result in a rebomb. This will cause missiles to detonate at random parts of the stage, creating more holes. The final thing you need to be cautious of while placing your land formations is a balance between raising and lowering the land. If you're placing more raised land blocks than you are lower land ones, you may notice the gauge on the left-hand side of the screen filling. When it reaches the top, it'll trigger an earthquake. Earthquakes will cause catastrophic damage to the play area, leaving you struggling to reform land masses and prevent all your water from spilling out of the stage. Now that we know the main rules and concept of the game, let's take a look at the other modes that the game has to offer. Pro Mode is a slight variation of Classic Mode, however instead of starting from level 1, you start at level 6. As a result, you have less time to place your pieces down as they'll fall faster to the playfield. On top of this, you have more challenging piece drops, such as 2 missiles falling at once and larger water formations. Handicap Mode has an extra 7 options to choose from. These include Raised Land A and B, Ice Layer A and B, Random Land, Random Holes, and Half-Filled Drain. The raised land modes, as far as I can tell, either has you start with your land higher than the standard starting height to allow you to use lower land tiles to create holes, or makes the raised land blocks create higher boundaries when placed. In all honesty, I couldn't actually tell what the difference between this mode and the classic mode was. The ice layer modes have you starting with a sheet of ice that will melt after a certain amount of time. You need to quickly set up boundaries so that the water doesn't spill off the stage after defrosting. After each level of this mode, any remaining water will freeze for a short period of time, allowing you to create more barriers before once again melting. Random Land mode has you begin with random terrain such as raised land in different spots of the board. Random Holes mode generates random holes in the stage that you'll need to repair to prevent water draining through them. And finally, the Half Drain mode has you starting with your drain meter half full, requiring you to make fewer mistakes before failing the challenge. The game's Challenge mode offers another 6 gameplay options to choose from. These include 1 minute mode, 5 minute mode, 100 pieces, 500 pieces, and preset A and B. The 1 and 5 minute modes give you 1 and 5 minutes respectively to score as many points as possible before the timer runs out. The 100 and 500 piece modes have you attempting to score as high a score as possible while only using the allocated pieces. Once you run out of pieces or fill your drain meter, the challenge is over. Presets A and B, to my understanding, just start you at level 1 and level 6 respectively. While I feel like there may be a way to change these presets to your own liking, I didn't see the option during my time playing. Like most puzzle games, and games on the N64 for that matter, there was a multiplayer mode that would allow you to challenge your friends and see who could become the Wetrix champion. So before we move on to the last mode of the game, there's something I need to come clean about. Something I've been struggling with during my time playing the game. Okay, here it goes. I'm bad at Wetrix. Like, really bad. I know I've been doing a pretty good job at portraying myself as maybe even a mediocre enthusiast of the game, but in reality, this is probably a more accurate depiction of my playtime.
Play. Game over. Game over. Unplayed. Game over. Who plays? Game over. 3. Game over.
Yeah, it was pretty bad. So on to the last mode of the game, practice mode. Personally, this is my favorite mode in the entire game for one sole reason. The pieces don't automatically fall to the playfield. You're given as much time as you need to decide where you want to place the pieces down and strategically form your landmasses. It allows you to play the game at your own pace and really feels more like a puzzle than a race against the clock. Because of this, it's really hard to recommend Wetrix to the average puzzle gamer. Its unique ideas and mechanics really does make it stand out from the other puzzle games that were coming out at the time, and even a lot of the puzzle games coming out today. Because of this, I would still recommend it to puzzle enthusiasts who want a very different experience from their puzzle games. But unless you're really willing to learn the mechanics of the game, I don't think it's a game that's really going to hold one's interest for long. And I think that's where I'm going to leave it off. I really appreciate everyone stopping by. Hopefully you enjoyed this week's review, and hopefully I'll see you all next week for the next game.